All right, friends and family, since that's mostly who's going to be listening to this, welcome to another episode of the Many Last Words podcast. This is Bill. I am once again running a solo pod since Peyton is busy this week. And we'll cut him some slack. He's not ducking. I'll vouch for him, not ducking. He's fitting in 5 days of work into like 2.5 days. It's his wedding week. There's a lot going on. So I'll vouch for him, not ducking. He'll be back next week. We'll be sure to talk about this Bears Eagles matchup. Um, for now, I'll speak on the Bears side of things, mostly reserve most comments about the Eagles. I'll let Peyton say most of whatever needs to be said. I don't have much shit to talk about the Eagles. On their side, it is what it is. There's a lot of things for them to figure out. First of all, weekly check-in. Getting excited for this trip we're about to take out to New Orleans. We're taking off tomorrow at 7 a.m. from LAX, going into New Orleans. If anybody's listening to this has any recommendations on what to do in the French Quarter, feel free to reach out and let us know. Fran and I will be very excited. First time, never been to New Orleans, never been to Louisiana. First time I've kind of dipped my toes into the South. So, not sure what to expect, not sure how we'll be received. We're just humble visitors and very excited to celebrate Peyton and Victoria this upcoming Saturday. So, I do have news of my own. I am also engaged. So I just want to say to my fiance, Francesca, I love you. Thanks for always supporting me. And I'm excited for our future also. So that's about enough. All I got. We did just go past and live through Thanksgiving and celebrated. Had a good feast. I stood in about an hour long line for honey baked ham out here in Glendale, California. It was an interesting experience. I wish I would have known that pre-ordering would have given us a quicker line experience. That would have been nice to know, to be informed of. I don't want to be a Karen about restaurant stuff, dude. I hate that. I hate when people complain about things like that. So I'll cut him some slack. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but the ham was very good. I was very happy to have that. And if anybody has any recommendations on what to do with the ham drippings, I would also appreciate that because I got a nice little deli container of all the stuff that comes off the ham when you bake it. All of a sudden, I'm getting these allergies and I don't understand it. Really pissing me off. If anybody has any recommendations on anything at all with life involving curing allergies, help me out because I'm dying over here. This sucks. This weekly recap thing is a lot easier to do when there's somebody else here with me. So, enough about me. Let's get into the Black Friday game first and foremost. And we'll talk about some other games that involve some repercussions throughout the league and affect both of our teams. So, we have the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. Black Friday game. It's almost been a week since that's happened, so sorry for the late response on all that. It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy few days. Had a lot going on. But anyways, I'll address first and foremost all the people all season that have been moving the goalpost on whether or not the Bears are a good team. Sure, we had wins against some teams that maybe weren't the best. Fair point. Some of them had winning records when we faced them. The Steelers, the Commanders. Every single week happens to be our Super Bowl. Cool, we got a dynasty going. And somehow we're finding reasons to diminish the victory that we just imposed upon. Going into Philadelphia, going into the link, hallowed grounds, one of the most hostile environments to play a football game against the reigning Super Bowl champions, all the talent in the world on that field. I know Lane Johnson was hurt, and there's things just aren't happening right now for the Eagles that usually are, and that's something that they'll need to address. But to see people, all these Twitter warriors, these keyboard warriors, try to discredit the Bears and saying that they're fraudulent. Do me a favor, set down the goalpost for a second. You're carrying and moving it around, trying to find some place to let it land underneath the ice that's melting under your feet. Set it down for a sec. Get on your knees and beg for forgiveness because you are wrong. Wrong and stupid. And I hate you. Bears are good. The Bears were imposing their will on the Eagles defensive line. I had Fran sit down with me when I got home from work that day. I went in after the game. It ended up working out pretty well. And she wanted to see the highlights because she got super excited, like, oh my god, they actually did it. And the one thing that she noticed, and she's not the biggest like X's and O's person. Which, I mean, got to be a pretty big nerd to be that kind of person for the game of football. The one thing she noticed was, oh my god, they're running without being touched. And that's what that offensive line was able to do to the naked eye. It's like, yeah, of course they're going to win the game. They were so wide open, so able to do whatever they wanted with the running game all game. Monungai, DeAndre Swift, over 125 yards. You've probably seen that statistic 100 times this week. First time it's happened since 1985. And that's a really good sign. I like when things happen for the first time since 1985. Would have been nice if it happened in 1986, but whatever. I feel confident in the way that this offensive line is gelling. And there's been a lot of very intelligent NFL people saying good things about this offensive line and how it's able to protect Caleb, how it's able to push forward and open up holes and run Ben Johnson's vaunted offense that he was so, you know, that he was spoken so highly of coming into the position as the Bears head coach, the offensive guru that he's shown that he honestly is. Caleb Williams did not have the best game, and that's fine for now. I would love to see some improvement week after week. Having the completion percentage dip below 50 is mildly concerning. I know the conditions were not ideal for anyone to be throwing the football. It was super windy, swirling winds. It was kind of cold-ish. Still would love to see that be not so much of a big factor. Can't discredit that throw to Cole Kmet. Lofted it over Reed Blankenship into the end zone. That was really the dagger. That's really what got me up out of my seat here on this very couch, sitting with my frog friend, Douglas, the Fox, and Sonny, who is taking a nap somewhere around here. We all got up, mostly because I made a lot of noise, started throwing things around because I was so excited. Things opened up for the Eagles towards the end. It was a little bit too little, too late. Um, I didn't mind going for two for the Eagles at the end when they scored a touchdown. You kind of found out right there, right then, is this going to be a one possession game or is it going to be two? Is it over or are we playing for something? I don't mind that. So I know that's something that's been talked about and been critiqued. I thought in the moment, like, is this the right thing to do? Upon reflection, I'd do the same thing. You know, let's see what we got in front of us. This was also the return of Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, two pieces that had been, very obviously missing in the Bears defense. Um, they were on a pitch count. They were on the field. I know Jalen didn't play super well. That loft over him to Devontae Smith. They got a pretty nice chunk off of that. And that's something to be expected. I mean, Devontae Smith won a freaking Heisman. Like an incredible player. AJ Brown, incredible players. They were both doing more or less what they wanted to. Dallas Goedert gashed us a little bit. So, not a perfect game, but a game that the Bears showed that they are able to compete against anybody in the NFC. And that is the most confidence boosting win I've seen since that Rams game in 2018. That, again, that's probably what everybody's been saying. Um, yeah, dude, I'm stoked. Shout out to Sean Wright figuring out the tush push, getting probably the biggest momentum swinging play in the entire game, which I thought had happened right before then, which gave the Eagles the ball and that side of the field with God, what's his name? Jalix, Jalix on the Eagles, tipping and intercepting Caleb's intended screen off to the left. I thought it was, I thought they were making a comeback right there, but thankfully, one of the points that was emphasized by Dennis Allen, something they saw on film was that the ball was vulnerable. Deshaun Wright was able to rip it out. That was the only attempt on the touch push they had all the game, and they made him pay for it, and that's freaking awesome. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see the defense get another interception with Kevin Byard leading the league in interceptions. I mean, if this defense is able to generate takeaways, we're in every single game. And it's going to be a really big test against the now league leading, like least amount of takeaways on a team, the Packers. It was the Eagles, and they said they were going to keep the ball away from any sort of turnovers. It didn't happen because the Bears defense, I think, is for real, and it's just getting stronger and stronger as more of our starters come back off IR, off their injuries. TJ Edwards could come back to play this week, which would be a huge boost. I know Tremaine Edmonds is still probably a few weeks away, but the replacement court linebackers, which I feel dumb because I don't have their names right in front of me, they've been playing super well. They've been filling in. It's almost as if there wasn't that many injuries on the report, and that's such a testament to Dennis Allen getting these dudes ready to play. And I loved Ben Johnson taking his shirt off. Thanks for the glizzies. So that's what I got. We have our rivalry week. Yes, the stupids up north. I think my prediction will be Bears 45, the stupid 0. I'm giving them absolutely no kudos. They suck. I think they're dumb. I hate their fans, I hate their stadium, I hate their village. It's not a city. Stupid. I think I've played high school baseball in a nicer stadium than whatever the hell they have. And I'm not afraid. I'm not scared of that team. I think they have not handled pressure super well this season. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I trust Caleb and the offense, especially like I don't think the wind is going to play very much of a factor in this game. So Caleb will be able to make whatever throw he wants to make. It will be more of a run-based offense since that's what's been working for both us and the Green Bay Packers. So I think that this is going to be one of the better games we've seen in years. And if anybody has any recommendations on where to watch this in New Orleans, I'd love to be in a super lit spot. This is going to be a good one. So that's what I got. Let's go through some of the other games. Lions let America down. What the fuck, guys? How do you always lose to the freaking Packers on Thanksgiving? Come on. You 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 end the day on a bad note before it even begins, before anybody's even eating. What the hell? Um, moving on to the next game. That's all I got. That's all I got. I mean, you give up like one play after turning it over on downs. You give up a bomb to Christian Watson, whatever the fuck. That's it. How do you win after that? You don't. Chiefs lost to the Cowboys. Cowboys are on a roll right now. I'd be. I don't think. I don't think the Eagles are really in any danger of giving up the NFC East. I got to pull up their schedule and see who they're going up against next week. But that offense with Dank, I like to call him Dank. Excuse me. CD and George Pickens. I mean, they look unstoppable. Who can stop them? Who can stop two number ones? We'll see where George ends up after this season because I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but that just goes to show where the Chiefs are. And I don't think anything's going to change too much with that team because they've been getting healthier. They haven't had their entire team either, but that next man up is not nearly as strong with Kansas City, and that's too bad. Honestly, I'm not super upset about it though. It's been brought to my attention something that I probably should have realized that the earliest that Patrick Mahomes' season has ended has been the overtime in the AFC Championship, which is crazy. So if he doesn't make the playoffs, I wonder how his mental health will be, given that he'll have an extra month and a half off from football. Maybe he comes back stronger than ever. That's a dangerous thought to have. We definitely forgot how good Joe Burrow is when he's healthy. I think going back to the discussion that Peyton and I had a few weeks ago that really pissed a lot of you off. Two things can be true at the same time. Both Joe Flacco has been an elite quarterback, and I do think Joe Burrow is really good. I do think he's a great quarterback. I don't know where he ranks in the top five, top 10, but he's up there. And he definitely changes the makeup of that team when he's healthy. And who knows what's going to happen with Baltimore. I think the Steelers are feeling pretty lucky that Baltimore lost to the Bengals. They're still in play for the AFC North, but given how the schedule is going to fall out, I don't know. I don't know. Steelers just don't look very good with an old ass Aaron Rodgers. You hate to see it. Hate to see that guy, law abiding, blue blooded American citizen, just loves to follow all the rules. Aaron Rodgers. Hate to see him go out the way he is. Uh, any more consequential games? Let's see. The Rams lost to the Panthers. I don't have too many notes about this, but did both the Bears and the Panthers win the Bryce Young trade? Did they both win? Bryce Young looked pretty good. I mean, all week going into like everything, like, yeah, the Bears are the number one overall seed. It was the Rams. The Rams were touted as one of the more complete teams with the offense, Puka Nakua and Matthew Stafford. Kyron Williams, no pushover in the running back department either. That defense had been performing pretty well also, but Bryce Young was hitting the deep shots, converting on fourth downs, doing things that they weren't expecting the Panthers to do. It came out in the rain, which I guess is also another factor. The Rams weren't able to perform in that environment because they played in Dome and SoFi. Probably one of the more shocking finishes. But the Panthers have been beating teams that are better than them all season. They beat the Green Bay Packers, who were supposed to be really good. The Rams, I mean, dude, they're in play to make a run for the NFC South. I'd love to see it, honestly. Let's see. Don't care about the Saints Dolphins. Who knows what's going to happen with the Colts? That's something I'd like to discuss with you, Peyton, since I know you're going to listen to this. The Jets and the Falcons, who cares? Niners, Browns, who cares? Jaguars beat the Titans, who would have thought? Seahawks absolutely blew the tits off the chest of the Vikings. What do you do with Minnesota? If you're Minnesota, if you're Kevin O'Connell, what do you do? Because you pushed all your chips into the table for JJ McCarthy, 9, and he sucks. He's not good, dude. Then you got this undrafted guy that came in, and maybe he can make a name for himself. He could go out there and look semi competent. I think was it 4 interceptions? I'm pretty happy about it. I have the Seattle Seahawks defense, and my position players did not play super well, except for Brock Bowers, who had that one-handed catch. Saved the season for me. And this defense scored like 28 points for me. Thank you, Seattle. I appreciate it. Raiders Chargers, who cares? I tuned into the Broncos Commanders Sunday night game when the Commanders drove down to tie it. Saw overtime. Love the mentality from Dan Quinn, the coach. Fuck it. The Broncos scored in overtime. The Commanders went down and responded with a score. Went for two. Didn't get it. Pretty exciting finish. I'm glad I was able to catch the very last bit of it. Marcus Mariota, been in the league for 10 plus years, I want to say. What a guy. I'd love to chill with that guy. And he just shows up and consistently does what he does, which you can say about anyone. And then we have the Giants and the Patriots. The Patriots are a very good team. Shout out Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson won me my fantasy matchup on the very last little bit of the games. I'm still in play. If anybody cares about the Talladega baby Jesuses, we might be in a good position to make a run in the playoffs for the Andy Farrell quote fantasy league. So if you want any more information on that, go on and let me know. I think that's really all I have for the NFL games this week. The Birds are playing the Chargers. Chargers have been on a skid recently. They've had a lot of offensive line injuries. Justin Herbert might not even play on account of breaking a bone in his left hand. Um, so probably back on track for winning the NFC East, being in the playoffs, and perhaps making a run where others may not be counting them in to where they usually are. But that's acting like the Bears aren't a good team. My main point is respect us. Respect this. Respect this. Because the Bears are for real. And with a win in Lambeau, what are they going to say then? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I'm excited to have Peyton back on the pod next week. We'll see how that works because I know he will be going to, I think he's going to Europe. I think that's where the honeymoon's going to be. So we'll figure out how to make that happen. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll check back in. This is going to have a major effect on my mental health, this game. I wish nothing but the worst for the Green Bay Packers. So, till then, thanks for tuning in. This has been Bill, Many Last Words Podcast, and it's over.